There are a lot of Star Trek episodes, and you should watch all of them. But if you can't be bothered to carve 900 hours out of your day, could you boil it down to just one? Not the best episode, but the perfect Star Trek episode. So Plato, you remember Plato, had a theory that roughly says that everything in the world has a perfect form that exists on some other plane. I'm way oversimplifying here, but this is what we sometimes call a platonic ideal. And the platonic ideal of a Star Trek episode aired in 1967. The Devil in the Dark, from the first season of Star Trek, is a monster episode. A weird, gooey creature is killing a bunch of miners. Miners like ERS miners. Adult men who work in a mine. The Enterprise shows up and Kirk, Spock, McCoy beam down to stop it. Gooey monster eats a few more people and steals a part from the machine that's keeping all the humans alive. With a ticking clock before they all suffocate, they decide pretty quickly that the only solution is to kill the monster. Spock is the only one to point out that if this creature is the last of its kind, which is certainly how it appears, isn't killing it wrong? He describes it as a crime against science, but the subtext is, hey, isn't this morally reprehensible? Yes, the creature has been killing people, but doesn't it live here? There is mortal danger and a ticking clock until the planet becomes unlivable for humans. But they can leave. Nobody is trapped there. It's established early on that there's room on the Enterprise to get everyone to safety. They say all these planets are relying on these resources, but don't really get into what that means. So Kirk holds fast to killing the creature. It killed 50 men, it's life or death. The creature appears impervious to phasers, but then they try turning them way up, and Kirk and Spock manage to take a chunk out of it. But when Kirk finds himself trapped face to face with the Horta, this is the Horta by the way, he doesn't shoot it. Something is different. It isn't aggressive, like you'd expect from a wounded animal. Spock gets there and do what he do best.
I must try to mind meld with it.
The Horta is in fact less of a wild animal and more of a person. Intelligent and peaceful. It turns out this seemingly unstoppable creature is in intense pain from her injury. She is the only Horta, in charge of protecting thousands of eggs to revive the species. The mining destroyed countless numbers of these eggs, and unable to communicate, she did whatever was necessary to drive the humans away. Throughout the show, the crew has been dealing with this guy, Vanderberg, the chief of the mining operation. He and all the miners are pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Sort of gruff, working class dudes. Kirk tries to keep them out while they communicate with the Horta, but they start getting rowdy and charge in. And this is it. This is the best part of the whole show. They come in ready for blood, for revenge, and to protect their livelihood. But Kirk holds them off just long enough to explain what they've done.
That thing has killed 50 of my men.
You've killed thousands of her children.
What?
And the whole mood changes instantly. It's subtle, but you can see it play out on Vanderberg's face. Anger turns to understanding, turns to empathy.
We didn't know. How could we?
Within a couple minutes, murderous animosity becomes cooperation. They can coexist with the Horta, and they'll dig all the tunnels they need. Digging tunnels is kind of their thing. So they go from war to peace real quick. And I could see a modern audience thinking this ending is too quick, too easy. But all it is empathy for someone different from you. Immediate and unquestioned. They killed the Horta and the Horta killed them. But there's no need to continue that cycle of violence. And they recognize that immediately. And this isn't some Starfleet-trained diplomats, but some working guy in a coal mine. I couldn't think of a better representation of Roddenberry's vision of an evolved humanity. Just have empathy. It's not that hard. Devil in the Dark might sound like a really simple take on a pretty common Trek story, the misunderstood monster, and it is. But that's what allows it to cut to the core of what Star Trek is all about. Instead of killing the monster or running from it, try to understand it. No matter how foreign or alien it may be, do everything you possibly can to communicate and make peace. Because peaceful coexistence is always preferable to violence. Every single time. even from a position of strength where you could easily pull the trigger. Stop, reassess, find a way to coexist. It's always better. Is it the most tightly written episode of television? Not really. Do I wish there was even a single human woman in it? Yeah, I do. But thematically, ideologically, The Devil in the Dark is perfect Star Trek.